Namaskar. Myself, Dr. Deepti Bisht, Professor, Department of Kaya Chikitsa, Faculty of Ayurveda Sciences, Jyoti Vidyapeeth, Women's University, Jaipur. In today's session for class BMS 4th year, we will discuss the topic angina pectoris. So let's start the topic. First of all, some general introduction. As you all know, angina pectoris is a condition of temporary chest pain or discomfort caused by decreased blood flow to heart muscles. Because of decreased blood flow, there is not enough oxygen to the heart muscle, resulting in chest pain. Coronary artery disease or CAD, which can result in narrowing of the coronary arteries that carry blood and oxygen to the heart muscle, is one of the most common cause of angina. While angina is not a heart attack, it does signal an increased risk for a heart attack. So, the clinical features which we usually see are feeling of tightness or heaviness in chest, the location of which cannot be described with one fingertip, rather it is vaguely located, usually induced by exercise and relieved by rest. The pain or discomfort lasts only few minutes. Pain may be radiated to the arm, chin, shoulders, or waist. Stable angina. We see angina in two forms. One is stable and another is unstable angina. So stable angina is also known as effort angina. This refers to the classic type of angina which is related to myocardial ischemia. A typical presentation of a stable angina is that there is chest discomfort and associated symptoms precipitated by some activity like running, walking, etc., with minimal or non-existent symptoms at rest or after administration of sublingual nitroglycerin. Symptoms typically abate several minutes after activity and reoccur when activity resumes. Other recognized precipitants of a stable angina include cold weather, heavy meals, and emotional stress. Another type of angina, that is unstable angina. This is a form of acute coronary syndrome and is defined as angina pectoris that changes or worsens. It has at least one of these three features. First, it occurs at rest or with minimal exertion, usually lasting more than 10 minutes. It is severe and of new onset, that is, within the prior 4 to 6 weeks. It occurs with a crescendo pattern, that is, distinctly more severe, prolonged, or frequent than before. So it is also known as crescendo angina. Now, physical examination. Physical examination is often negative. In about 40% cases, anemia is found, and if corrected, it relieves the angina. Another sign and symptoms are chest pain or discomfort, fatigue, sweating, nausea, dizziness. Angina pectoris can be quite painful, or in some cases, it is seen as feeling of discomfort. This discomfort is usually described as a pressure, heaviness, tightness, squeezing, burning, or choking sensation. Apart from chest discomfort, anginal pain may also be experienced in epigastrium, back area, neck area, jaw or shoulder. This is referred pain. Typical locations for referred pains are arms, often inner left arm, shoulders, and neck into the jaw. Angina is typically precipitated by exertion or emotional stress. It is exacerbated by having a full stomach and by cold temperature. Pain may be accompanied by breathlessness, sweating, and nausea in some cases. In this case, the pulse rate and blood pressure increases. Chest pain lasting only a few seconds is normally not angina. Now, investigations which are commonly done for angina pectoris. First one is ECG or electrocardiogram, which is usually normal at rest. This test records the electrical activity of the heart, which is used to diagnose heart abnormalities such as arrhythmias or to show ischemia, that is lack of oxygen and blood to the heart. Second test is stress test. This or treadmill test that can induce ECG changes. This heart monitoring test is used to help evaluate how well the heart performs with activity. During a stress test, usually patient is asked to perform some physical exercise like walking on a treadmill. Then an ECG is recorded during the period of exercise. The ECG is assessed by doctor to see if heart reached an appropriate heart rate and if there were any changes to suggest decreased blood flow to the heart. If patient or person is unable to perform exercise, then pharmaceuticals that mimic the heart's response to exercise may be used. Then another tests are blood tests. In ECG testing, few findings are important, like few patients show ECG signs of an established MI, that is inverted Q wave, changes of ST segment, that is ST depression, and T wave inversions are the most convincing evidence for angina. Another test for angina are blood tests, which can identify certain enzymes such as troponin that leak into the blood after heart has suffered severe angina or a heart attack. Blood tests can also identify elevated cholesterol, LDL, and triglycerides that place a person at high risk for coronary artery disease and therefore angina. Other additional tests are also there, like chest X-ray, which are used to rule out other sources of chest pain such as pneumonia, and CT of chest is also done, which is a more sensitive test than chest X-ray, and it can identify other cause of chest pain such as aortic disease or blood clots in the blood vessels of the lung. Then another test is coronary computed tomography, that is CT angiography. This exam evaluates the coronary arteries or blood vessels to determine the extent of narrowing of the arteries due to plaque without the need of an invasive catheter. Similarly, MR imaging or magnetic resonance is also done sometimes. The primary purpose of this exam is to determine whether there is good blood flow to the heart muscle. If there are areas with decreased blood flow, this could indicate plaque with blood vessel narrowing, and this blood flow evaluation may be done twice during the exam with the use of contrast material. So, this exam can assess function of heart and determine if there is any scar in the heart muscle. Catheter angiography is also another investigation which is invasive imaging test in which a thin long plastic tube called catheter is inserted into the artery of groin area or hand using a needle, and this catheter is then guided with a wire into coronary arteries, and then a dye is injected or contrast material is injected directly to coronary artery, and it is then it is then found that is there any narrowing in the blood vessels. So sometimes narrowed portion of the blood vessels can be reopened using either a balloon or stent. So these are few investigations. Differential diagnosis usually seen with chest pain, musculoskeletal pain, pericardial pain, or esophageal area pain. Management is done on following principles. First one is assessment of severity of symptoms, control of symptoms with the use of drugs or other measures, and third principle is measures to improve life expectancy. So, important drugs which are used. First is nitrate group. Members used are isosorbide dinitrate, which is used in the dose of 10 mg QID, isosorbide mononitrate 20 to 40 mg BID, or glyceryl trinitrate, myovin nitroglycerin ointment, which is a local application ointment used to relieve chest pain. Nitrates act by dilating the coronary arteries, but also have prominent systemic effects. They lower the blood pressure, dilate the venous capacitance vessels, and decrease the preload on the heart. So, heart has to work less and its oxygen consumption is reduced. There are some adverse effects associated with use of nitrate. These are throbbing headache, flushing, fainting, and sweating, etc. These adverse effects usually vanish away after the stopping of the drug. Then another group is beta blockers. These drugs protect heart against sympathetic system mediated tachycardia. These are contraindicated in bronchial asthma, diabetics who are on oral hypoglycemic agents. Then third group is calcium channel blockers. They work by dilating coronary blood vessels and thus reducing myocardial oxygen demand and contractile power of heart. Antiplateletic agent is another group. Members are aspirin, ciclopidine, or clopidogrel. These agents should be given like to avoid condition of infarction in future. Basically, these are used as blood thinners and they help in dissolving the clots and thus reducing the coronary artery diseases. Now, the complete treatment of angina should be use of nitrate, beta blockers, calcium channel blockers, antiplateletic agents, then antioxidants like vitamin A, E, C, and selenium should also be used. Hypolipidemic drugs in case of dyslipidemia are used, which are statin groups. The main goals of treatment in angina prospectoris are relief of symptoms, slowing progression of the disease, and reduction of future events, typically heart attack and death. Then identifying and treating risk factors for further coronary heart disease is a priority in patients with angina. This means testing for elevated cholesterol and other fats in blood, diabetes and hypertension, and encouraging smoking cessation and weight optimization. So, lifestyle changes are recommended, like maintaining a healthy weight, consuming a balanced diet which is low in fat, discontinuing the use of tobacco products, and finding ways to reduce stress. So all these things are also useful in controlling the cases of angina. Then invasive treatments which are usually done in case of angina are balloon angioplasty, in which the balloon is inserted at the end of a catheter and inflated to widen the arterial lumen. Stents to maintain the arterial widening are often used at the same time. Second invasive treatment is coronary bypass surgery, which involves bypassing constricted arteries with venous graft, and this is much more invasive than angioplasty. So these are some invasive treatment of myocardial infarction. So this was all about the treatment of angina pectoris. In next lecture, we will cover some another topic. Namaskar. Have a nice day.